one of your earliest matches, which is crazy to me this was even a thing. February 8th, 2000, you had a dark match before Sunday Night Heat, and this was one of your earliest matches from what I could tell.
Hmm.
Um, let's see, did I have the yeah, it was you and Lance Cade against American Dragon and Shooter Schultz, who we haven't talked about yet, if you'd like to talk about him as well. What in the world was this like going into such a big match situation so young in your career? Like that had to be overwhelming.
Yeah, I didn't know any better. I know I was nervous around all the wrestlers. I thought I was really good at wrestling. I remember talking with Shane McMahon, the four of us did, and he asked, how much time do you want? And I said 12 minutes. And he laughed. And but he gave us 12 minutes. I didn't
Wow.
realize how absurd it was. But that's the power of being Shawn Michaels students at the time. Like it was just a goof to them, and who cares? It's 5 more minutes before the show starts. But I think the match was all right.
Were you so I'm guessing at this point, were you aware of the benefits that came with being a Shawn Michaels? Because obviously you know Shawn Michaels has connections and everything, but like were you cognizant of the difference between your training and your opportunities compared to a school, you know, 10 miles away?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a reason I moved to
Yeah.
Texas. Um, I figured, well, he's the best wrestler in the world, and he's connected to the place I want to go to. It seems like a no-brainer. And it was.
Shooter Schultz. Could you talk a
Mm.
little bit about him? Because he feels like he's a name almost lost in time, out of that group. You have the main ones who were talked about yourself, Brian, Lance. His name, it comes up a little bit mostly because he was involved in that match and some of the early stuff, but you don't hear about him very often.
Yeah, he wound up getting signed. The four of us got signed. We all moved down to Memphis. And I liked Shooter a lot. I used to go bother him and his wife, Tina. I'd go over to their house every day after practice. They probably despised it, but they were too nice to say, "Get out of here, kid." Um, he was really talented. He was really good. Uh, it's when we lost our jobs in Memphis. Um, we all took it hard,
Mm-hmm.
but he remained bitter over it. I think he never
Ah,
wrestled again. Yeah.
that's a shame, but understandable too. I do want to, before we transition too much, I wanted to ask about uh, were you only doing matches, obviously not counting this WWE thing, were you only doing matches for Sean's company, or were they encouraging you to get work around?
No, I just worked for Sean's company, and
Okay.
luckily he ran most weekends.
Okay.
So I would maybe wrestle 5 times a month.
All right. That's not bad
Uh,
at all.
it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a lot of matches. We might have double shot weekends. There also might be weekends where there was nothing. We do our monthly tapings, but I got a decent amount of work, especially for an indie kid who just started. He booked us quite a bit.
I have to ask this, and you don't have to talk about it specifically,
Hmm.
but did they pay you for these shows, or because you were a student, was it like nothing? Because obviously it wouldn't be
No,
much either way, but
no, he paid us. He
oh,
paid us.
really? Good for
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Good for
really,
him.
really surprising. Yeah, and it was clearly out of his pocket because these
Mhm.
shows weren't. Although I've run shows that have drawn less than some of the ones he ran. But we'd get $20 or maybe even $50. It was great. It was. I've still got my payday, my first payday from
That's super cool. That's really cool.